What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning, once again, Carl the Cobra Froch. Get this. Carl Froch on Anthony Joshua needs to stop these nonsense fights or just retire. Carl Froch has not been shy in criticizing Anthony Joshua, as we know, in the recent months, and he's taken another pop at the former unified champion. And this is what he said. He said, I don't understand coming from world class and being a world champion, then jumping in with mark time fighters and fights to build you back up. You've got to get straight in the deep end. Top fighters, world champions, when they lose a fight, they get straight back in another world championship. I lost for a world title and went straight back in for another world title. Look at Canelo Alvarez, who does the same. Oscar De La Hoya. Any of these champions over the history of boxing, they get straight back in the deep end. All this warm-up nonsense. He wants to fight Dillian White and just box Jermaine Franklin. It's all nonsense. He needs to get back in there and fight for a world title, show us he believes in himself and means business in the sport, or just retire. Go away and sell off into the sunset because he's done well out of the game. And let me counterpunch. I have to agree with Carl Froch with the opposition level. Just because you lose, and I think he lost to the best fighter in the world, or definitely one of the best fighters in the world, there's no reason to do any of that other stuff. However, what Carl Froch should realize is that Anthony Joshua himself, when he got defeated by Andy Ruiz, it wasn't a time to take a tune-up fight, and that's what everybody urged him to do. Hang out, lay back, fight lower opposition, get your bearings back, get your confidence back, and then go up. He didn't want to do any of that. He wanted to go right into those fights. The Usyk defeat, the first defeat, he wanted Usyk right away. It wasn't any, let me take a Jermaine Franklin or a Dillian White after that. No, he could have done that. He didn't do that, though. Okay? And I think this is straight up criticism, because it's not the fact that what Carl Froch is saying is wrong. It's the fact of who he's saying it to and why he's saying it to him. Okay? Because when you talk about Joshua, a guy that's taken on all these different challenges, that's the worst thing you could say about Anthony Joshua, as he didn't, or if he's not fighting the best, or he didn't fight the best. Now, you could say it seems strange for him to take on Jermaine Franklin when he was taking on guys like Alexander Usyk, unbeaten, former undisputed champions. Okay, and then you had Pulev before that. Then he got his belts back from Andy Ruiz before that, when people didn't even think it was a good idea, or didn't even think that he was going to beat Andy Ruiz again. So, and then the negotiations with Tyson Fury and his ability to want to go on with that, but that's up in the air. But I think Carl Froch is, once again, comparing his solid, complete legacy and career to someone that's still doing it. Fighting Dillian White, sure. I mean, who else would you want him to fight? You know what I mean? You're not giving him credit for fighting or challenging Alexander Usyk again. You know what I mean? Now, I think that fighting someone like Usyk back-to-back and losing back-to-back wasn't enough, and he felt like, well, okay, now let me take other people's instruction now and fighting lower opposition to get the bearings back, to rebuild with a new trainer and this and that. I think he decided to do that now, but then the first person that jumps on him is you. I find that real strange. You know what I mean? Because you wasn't even in support of Joshua fighting these guys, or giving him credit for fighting these guys back to back, as opposed to all these other fighters. The same thing he's saying about Anthony Joshua is the same shit he should be saying about Tyson Fury. By the way, doesn't have an opponent as of yet. So again, Carl Froch, man, I think he goes on the deep end with Anthony Joshua. To be fair, he does criticize other fighters, but I don't think it's nearly to the point of how he does with AJ. I think AJ is just, hey, let's shit on AJ. Bring Carl Froch in. Carl's going to say something shitty. You know, let's bring him back to talk sports so he can say some other shitty stuff about all the matchroom fighters and all the DAZN blokes, right? That's what I see Carl Froch doing, and we all know it's because of something real petty, because that guy was the first guy to beat your record that you're so proud of with the 80,000 in attendance at Wembley Stadium. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Carl Froch's criticism of Anthony Joshua. Stop fighting these bums or retire. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!